Great. So this session is societal empowerment through science education. So we have been working through science or working around science or dancing around science for a long time. Mostly it's like most of our from indicator science, but now this panel is more like how root level people, they can contribute with their skill and education and like knowledge sharing for empowerment. And that empowerment can cause a collective development in society. So it's, this particular session is kind of like a story. How their works are connected to our subject matter today. So here, as you can see, these links, so you have already memorized all the things here. You can utilize these links. And for any sort of code of contact concerns, you can reach out for this link. And of course, here our event support, they have been amazing. Not only this event, not only this session, they have been using, they are supporting many of us. And, you know, I really want to appreciate their effort here. So Arnav, Justice, Shrestha, Adeline, they'll be supporting us. And also the whole team, Amanda, and Amanda S, and here's Shrestha, John, everyone. So next slide, please. Great, so this is our session speakers. So our learning and education track, and that would be societal empowerment through science education. We have our 5 speakers. They're going to give their introduction very shortly. And please, can I go to the next slide? Well, the next slide. Adeline or Justice, whoever sharing the slides, can I go to the next slide? Excellent. So as we have been here, so we all know how to put our name and how to do all the Zoom stuffs here. So I'm not gonna, take your time on that, but still, you can change your name or rename your Zoom in this format, your name, your pronoun, and your affiliation and country. And you are going to have these links, useful links. So you can use the links whatever you want. But yes, now the next slide, actually, we're going to enter to the topic. And a big, actually, we want to thank our sponsors, Millipore Sigma, Opentrons, the John and W. Henry Family Foundation, and of course, MIT Media Lab Community Biotechnology Initiative. That's excellent. So, Adeline, before that, before jumping into the next slide, actually, what I want to say is, since we all are here and our speakers are here, so many of them are connected to education, mostly, not only with their particular profession, but also their works and works for social development. So those education are revolving around science, skill-based, and also research. And sometimes we see lots of science going on for the research sake and many business purpose. But one particular thing, definitely in certain region, when you enable certain population with skills, that may actually be resulted into economical development. Because sometimes your skill that may, have some sort of employment. Because for your most of the time employment generation, it depends on skills. So of course there are lots of other significant things, but we are going to focus on that. How science education development is related to economy or the socio-economic structure, and how that's going to help the collective development of society. So yeah, we're going to start with the first speaker. Ivan, please step in.
Hey, thanks a lot.
Can you go to the next slide? Yeah, excellent.
Bonjour, grüezi miteinander, buongiorno. This is good morning in all the Swiss languages. You know, I've been doing my PhD here, but originally I'm from Perm, Ural Mountains, Russia. So there is a lot of disparity, as you know, back home in terms of social and societal and economic backgrounds of people. So I'll be talking a bit about that. So I was participating in these international science Olympiads, and I'm going to dive in a bit more in my presentation about why it is important as science education as a tool to support creativity in young kids. So you might know these are the big international events where representatives of different countries compete, and for about 80 countries and 4 or 5 participants per Olympiad. I was doing my bachelor in physics and applied mathematics at Moscow Institute of Physics and Technology before moving to a PhD at EPFL, where I was teaching iGEM teams of EPFL. And yeah, it was a fantastic learning experience, both as an instructor and for students also. And before that, as I said, I was supporting learning of this fast learning group of kids in International Biology Olympiad and International Junior Science Olympiad that I'm happy to talk about in a moment. So could you bring us to the next slide, please? Yeah. So what I wanted to talk about here is a bit of iGEM. So the first 2 pictures are about iGEM. So iGEM is this international genetically engineered machine competition, and it's fantastic how many skills are there. It is possible to develop during iGEM, and for me it means educating young talent of very mixed groups. You know, Switzerland is mixed by itself already. They don't speak the same language, and all the other countries and all the kids that go to schools like EPFL or ETH Zurich, they are very multinational also. And for me as a teacher in what I'm doing, it's a great opportunity to support this diversity of talents and empower them in their own life path. And you know, iGEM is all about science, but actually for me, when I teach science as a tool to support, for me, science is a tool to support creation of, to support talent that will have enhanced critical thinking. You know, because I think critical thinking is something that contributes enormously to the civil society that we all live in, for taking responsibility for our actions and for being part of a wider society. That's why iGEM is such a great initiative. It develops as an integral part. iGEM develops this so-called human practices. And you can read a bit more about human practices in iGEM, but actually it's fantastic because there we talk a lot about transferable skills. And here I encourage you to read this paper by Din, where he explains how the development of transferable skills tremendously influences the professional future of young talents. So this is something that you might be interested in. And I'll be talking more about how my work is linked with science research, sort of education research linked with iGEM. Well, I don't know, for me, it's already morning on Saturday, 10th of October. But for you, it will be towards the end of the afternoon. Please join my workshop. And one more activity that I'm doing is, iGEM is mainly university level event, and there are some high school teams. And the other part of what I'm doing is more linked with high school students, supporting sort of these fast learners, preparing them for international Olympiads. And for me, it's extremely important to empower talents challenging them. I think every kid deserves to be challenged in what they're doing. And so, you know, there is this, there was this Winter Olympics in Russia in Sochi in 2014. And people didn't know what to do in infrastructure, so they converted an 8-story, 4-star hotel into a huge educational center for kids. And this is where you can see me teaching, you know, sometimes classes on molecular biology and biophysics. And so that's a great experience. And kids from very different backgrounds, where, you know, the financial status of your parent doesn't matter anymore, because you know, what matters is really the meritocracy there, where kids are supported by being able to interact with the real scientists. And then it's not only sciences, but when you go down the hall, you would see folks, you know, playing music, or you would see folks drawing some fantastic pictures. So for me, it was fantastic. And so I'm really happy to discuss with you all today. So for me, it's so much. And yeah, so I hope we're on time. I don't know how we're doing.
Yeah, you are right in time. So yes, Aravinth, you can step in.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Yeah. Hi. So it's also for me early morning. Good morning, and thanks Salman and the team for organizing this. And so myself, I'm Aravinth, natively from Sri Lanka, currently based in Berlin, but I live between Sri Lanka and Germany because of Dreamspace Academy. So about myself, I'm an interdisciplinary, so I have academic background in art and engineering. And then I worked in different countries, in different projects in the last 17 years, co-founded 7 organizations in 3 continents, and 4 of them are social enterprises solving fundamental problems. So today we are going to talk about Dreamspace Academy, one of the organizations which has spent a lot of time in the last years, where we are empowering underprivileged youth from war-affected regions in Sri Lanka to enable them to solve complex local challenges. So why I want to do that? Because I was born and brought up in the war zone in Sri Lanka, and at the age of 14, I had to leave the country. And when the war ended after 30 years, I went back 10 years after that, being exiled. And then I found out that a lot of local people have lost the ability to solve the local challenges. So here, what we are talking about, the societal empowerment, if we want to create a socioeconomic development for the people, you need to give them those skills to solve those challenges. Yeah, please go to the next slide. Okay, yeah. So here, I mean, the Dreamspace Academy is a non-typical organization when compared to you know, other type of organization around the world, and it's a community innovation center to tackle socioeconomic and environmental challenges using challenge-based learning. So there is no form of a subject-based learning there. So how do we do that? We have these 4 stages of our empowerment program. We call it one-to-one empowerment program, which takes around 18 months for each candidate, and every candidate is different. So when we identify the candidate, it's usually we just find them so to say, in a vulnerable environment, either in jungle or in different places, very young, 16, 17 years old people. And when we identify, okay, these are very motivated people to solve problems, we take them into this first stage, we call it MEC education, where we have these multidisciplinary workshops you know, where we train people to make anything from photography to business modeling to biotechnology. As I said, you know, they have to solve very complex problems, so they need to have all different types of, you know, disciplines of knowledge. Once they get all these basic, so to say, the knowledge, and they are moved to the second stage is called community innovation, where we identify which domain that they want to work, and in that domain, what challenge they want to solve. And this is the huge difference in other organization and us. in this place, they get small amount of salary to do that. Basically, they are fully employed in the sense to solve the local challenge at the same time to develop themselves. And the third stage is, so in the second stage, usually they get all the money and the material and everything to develop a prototype. And then the third stage is a stage where they actually could get the knowledge on their domain. Sometimes we don't have that particular knowledge. For example, the picture you see above, like Sanjeevan, when he was identified, he wants to work in the water domain. And I mean, so what you see on the top is our place in Sri Lanka, east coast of Sri Lanka, and we are in the middle of like, huge water ecosystem. And then we wanted to protect the water ecosystem. And so we don't have some form of underwater glider, which would cost 200,000 euro in Europe. And so we started to build such thing, and we gave him all training. And now he needs to understand the oceanology or marine biology to understand the whole domain. So that is the third stage that what we do. We send these candidates to another international place to get the training. And then once he gets all the domain knowledge, when the person is trained, then he goes back to the country and then spin off a startup, productize that solution from there. So in this way, we are just not stopping by teaching, but we are completely going through the life cycle. We call it Dreamspace life cycle to create even the industry, which doesn't exist in Sri Lanka, because Sri Lanka is an island known for tea and tourism. So this is how we are empowering people to solve their local challenges using multidisciplinary science. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Aravinth. So now, our next, Alexander, are you here? Actually, right. So we can actually go to the slides. I mean, right after that. So he has a, yeah, after that, this one. Excellent. Darin, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Excellent. You can start actually.
Okay, sure. So, hi everyone, my name is Darin. So I'm a maker from Singapore. I've been pretty much making my whole life, and that's how I got into the scene. I started out doing, fabrication and electronics and a little bit of that. And I'd always wanted to get into DIY bio. But in Singapore, there was nothing at the time. And here in Singapore, DIY bio and molecular biology is quite a small club where you have to have the qualifications and everything in order to even join. So eventually I got trained as a molecular biologist, but I also started two groups, the Ediblemakerspace and Biospace SG. Also, if any of you are wondering why I sound like this, I just got braces. So my voice is a bit weird at the moment. For my day job, I'm a frugal innovator. So I work with a company in addressing the digital divide using frugal innovation. So I'm going to talk a bit more about Ediblemakerspace. So if I can go to the next slide. Yeah, I know there's a lot of photos here, but stay with me. So for my group, the Ediblemakerspace, what we do is we focus on science education. But what I've found over the years is that everyone thinks about science in different ways, and we have a huge range of participants from scientists to artists to makers, and even age range, we have a very diverse crowd, from all the way as young as 4 years old, all the way to as old as 80 years old. So the way that we think about science is we have to think about science in a different way. It can't just be in an academic fashion. So we lead all kinds of different workshops. And for the Ediblemakerspace, the focus is food. So in Singapore, we have a huge food culture. So we introduce science in a way that's more palatable by linking it with food. So some of the things that we focus on is biomaterials and fermentation, microbiology, because this is some of the ways that we can get people interested. And we focus on all sorts of disciplines. So if you look at the pictures, we have some lab equipment like a DIY spectrometer and a low-cost incubator. and these were made by the participants. We also focus on food agricultural systems and different prototypes. So we have a laser etched piece of rice paper at the top with our logo, and we focus on a lot of biomaterials and things like that. So yeah, that's a bit of a rundown on Ediblemakerspace. And in Biospace actually, we focus more on the engineering side of things. So how we can make open science possible and how we can democratize science by creating low-cost lab equipment. All right. Hope I'm good.
Excellent. Yes. Now, actually, we're having different ideas here. Mostly, you know, if I talk about this edible makerspace and what Darin said, here in this part of the country, I mean, or this part of the region, or whatever you can say, this Asian region, sometimes we feel that we need to put more effort to make it understand what's biotechnology or this kind of integrated sciences. You know, some of the economical growth is happening here, but still it's a very growing phase, like advancing communities like South Asian countries. Many of the people, we need to make them understand what is the science here. Then actually we can like connect them with particular aspects of science, education, arts, and all the other things involved here. Because mostly skills and how you can monetize the skills, those are getting more focused. In our previous panels, they were talking about the stereotypes, the culture. I very much agree with that, because this culture and that stereotyping, those can usually affect the familial setup, and that can lead us to, you know, that can actually affect the how you are going to pursue your skills education, and also then it goes to the monetization of your skills or whatever your career is, and after that, the final thing, all together, it will have an impact on the, you know, social economical balance. It's a very general stuff. Now, can you, Adeline, if you go to the slides for Ivan, just go back, yeah, the first one. Yeah, here, right. So Ivan, if I may,
Sure.
You have been working with integrated science, as I can say.
Yes.
Not only biology, for some other engineering and electronics, and also you have been trying to connect on that. So now, if I just highlight on that, how do you connect your work on science education with social empowerment? I mean,
Right.
you have been like talking about it, but do you have some specific examples from your works to connect, you know, with science education?
Yeah, of course. So, for instance, last year the PFL team has won the track of overgrad. What they've developed is that here in Switzerland we have a big problem, or a big industry to begin with, winemaking. And the local problem of this industry is that there are these diseases that you need to diagnose early in order to prevent huge grape loss. So, and this team was empowered by the tools that we developed in the lab to solve this local problem of winemakers. So in a way, they have this societal impact. Also, what I wanted to underline is I think in general, education is giving people freedom of choice. So it's opening up a bit their life opportunities. You know, if you're, you know, I started today with so many languages, but actually for me, science is a language by itself. So we speak the same language, and then it's easier for you to go work abroad and share your culture. That goes beyond your scientific or work culture. So I think that's very important. And I don't think we teach people, I don't think when we teach people science in scientific projects, it's not to say that they will be scientists in the end. So that's not the final goal, at least not for me. And for me, it's important that students, they learn how to, you know, critical thinking to be better scientists critical thinking to be better citizens of the society that they live in. So I think that's a bit of that, if that answers your question.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, when you are talking about industry, actually, this industry, they have certain problems to meet, of course, for business, but that's problems, actually, they'll need, require the skill sets. So the skill sets, they will come from the skill-based training. So I very much agree with that. And now, if I go to Aravinth, so if you can, like, if you can put some light on that, how your approaches can be translated into the benefit for our subject today?
I mean, the whole concept is, I mean, Swiss and Global Node, they have a lot of access to infrastructure, knowledge, and information. In the target that we are doing in Global South is completely different. A lot of us can relate to that. So in most of the cases, even in our case, if you go to my slide, the second slide, so Sanjeevan was, when he was in the school, Sri Lanka still has a GCSE, the English system, and he was part of a scout. He was promoting all the environmental peace and the national peace and so on. But when he achieved a lot and then he is the first Sri Lankan Tamil to climb the Elbrus in Russia and the continental Europe. And after all this thing, he really wants to work in solving environmental problems. But when he went back home, and his father and his parents, they told him that he has to become a lawyer, and he has nothing to do with law. And also, these people, they don't have access to multidisciplinary education in generally in Sri Lanka. I mean, at least he's a little bit better than the other candidates that we have. So for us, the biggest thing is that we have these issues, and then we need to show them what is possible. And that's why we actually, with our empowerment, we start the empowerment from the parent, not from the student. So we have to speak to the parents, and then finally the parents agree, okay, you can have, in case of Sanjeev and this candidate, they get 1 year of time to prove that if he could do something in a year, that it has an impact. And then, I don't know, like, so for them, impact for them is the prestige, so for the parents. So if he could do something that is prestigious for them, and then they could actually let him do that. We have another candidate, I would say that the problem, as you see, the science education, and then the availability of such methodologies is not visible. That candidate wants to really make things and be in an innovative environment, but he's from really very low background, like in a jungle region. And when he was always about telling this thing, and his parents thought that he's abnormal, so they sent him to the hospital, and then I think in some kind of a mental asylum. And his brother reached out to us and saying that his brother has been admitted there, but he always talking about making things, and he heard about us, and then we went and we recovered the candidate from there. So that's and then we show them that how it works. And for the families, we have to incentivize if you want to keep them. That's why our second stage, community innovation, they also get a little bit of a monetary incentive. So in my opinion, in a global south, if we want to engage people in science, you need to first tackle the socioeconomic part, and by just giving them some form of incentive.
Great. That's amazing. I mean, Aravinth, as I know you, actually, some of you actually have been listening to him from the fellows program and our other sessions. So that's a very interesting story behind it. And I think this is these kind of examples can be an inspiration. So here, Darin, actually, I can give you a very interesting fact about Darin. He's going to join their mandatory military training after a few weeks, right, Darin, in Indonesia?
Yeah, end of October.
End of October. So you can see a couple of mind setups in different nations. And I really want to ask you one thing, that when, especially in this region of Asia, we need to convince the guardians, I mean the parents, most of the time if we talk about children, convince them how this sort of new line of education can be beneficial to them, and it can be beneficial for the future. And so can you share some of your experience how do your edible makerspaces like, you know, engaging parents, convincing them to get involved?
Yeah, I see. Here in Singapore, we have completely different issues that we face, you know, and generally Singapore is a bit more of an affluent country. So we don't have to deal with some of the social economic problems that come with, you know, other regions. So for us, it's more about the thing about the culture in Singapore is it's a very grind lifestyle, you know, where you have to work, you have to get a good job, and it's the thing is it's more of convincing the parents that that our type of education has value, and typically in Singapore, education is very theoretical, and it's really split into individual subjects. You know, you're either an artist or you're a scientist. But I want to blend that. You know, you can be an artist with interest in science, and you can be a scientist with interest in art. And so we also, like Aravinth, we also focus a lot on multidisciplinary training. So we train by problems. So we'll introduce a particular problem. Okay, this person needs a PCR machine or something, or, you know, it can be anything. But how can we address that using different forms of training? So, you know, you learn a little bit of welding, you learn a little bit of electronics, software, a little bit of bio, and we get different people from all different ages, all different groups, and try to get them to work together. So yeah, that's more of how our workshops are based. But the reason why we do all this is I'm really inspired by the hackerspace culture. So once upon a time, you know, software was this thing that only companies worked on, and people did not do it at home. But eventually, you know, with the boom of hackerspaces and boom of software, you know, people were working at home, and suddenly there were startups and companies coming out of garages. And I feel like that is the next step for DIY bio.
Salman, you're mute.
Yeah.
Next, sorry. So thank you so much, Darin and Aravinth, for reminding me. So culture and social views from the first part of your Darin, what you're saying, that's very important when we take any approach. Like in different region, maybe we want to have some kind of establishment, but sometimes we replicate what we see in the other spaces and or any kind of like successful model. But we actually need to keep in that mind that where we are establishing there, what kind of like mindset is going, and if my establishment can, you know, affect that in a very positive way or not. So maybe those are factors we should keep in mind. And now, exactly, Shrestha, that blind replication fails. Yeah, that actually fails, and I myself can set example because I did like a couple of failure like that about this Makers Lab. So.
Sorry, Salman, can I just chime in a little bit? I don't know if I'm crashing. It's Adeline.
Of course, we have time actually.
Hello. I'm from Singapore too, and I just wanted to add to what Darin and, you know, all of you, you know, you work very internationally as well. And so for me, I really feel that besides changing the mindset of a very urban, you know, Singapore culture, we are very cosmopolitan. We have a lot of people like all over the world that are here. And I think, you know, Singapore's other role really is to share the knowledge and support, you know, other initiatives that are going on in the region, and sharing our resources and bringing people here and, you know, like, and all this sort of exchange. So I do think that Singapore should be doing a little bit more. And it's really cool to see Dreamspace Academy, you know, bringing people. I think that's amazing. And helping to share our knowledge. I think that's a big thing. And as you exchange cultures, that's how you bring people closer together to the issues that may seem really far away. So yeah, sorry, that's it. Just wanted to jump in. Sorry.
Oh, that was amazing. Actually, we have we have time, and as I promised, like I will like leave more time for music. But Adeline, can you just go to the question answer slides? I mean, just after that. Yeah, exactly. Right. So now the floor is open for everyone. If you have any question, you can type in, or you can just unmute yourself and ask the questions.
People can unmute themselves now.
Yeah. So if you have any question for the panelists, so please go ahead. So we have Ivan, Aravinth, and Darin. And I understand Saheed and Alexander, due to their timeline, and this is a very odd time for everyone. And so, yeah, I am apologetic for that. But please go ahead and ask your questions.
Can I ask a question? Justice
Yeah.
here. What do you all see as like the new frontiers for your work?
Yeah, may I take it? For me, it's I'm actually will be participating in creation of this new university in Switzerland, in Schaffhausen. So it will be more about computer science education and support of talents globally. In this sense, it will be a distributed institution. So for me, it will be a sort of university management track. I feel a bit railroaded because sort of I'm a bit too stereotypic, I guess, from an academic background. But that's next for me, Justice. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, for us in Dreamspace Academy in Sri Lanka. So as I said, I have co-founded several organizations around the world, and one of that based in Germany is also a social enterprise. We operate in 40 countries in Global South. So it gave me a lot of exposure and idea into different regional problems and methodologies. And in last 11 years, I've been doing this as a social work. So what I really see that is we are growing into extremely multidisciplinary. So we have currently 9 labs. So like as I said, for software, mechanics, business, art, design, story lab, bio lab. We have been building our nanotech, nanomaterials lab, and ethics and policy lab. And so once we saw that it's just like, we are not building just because we want to. It's every lab is actually a candidate we identified that who wants to work in that domain. So when we empower. So we have been really grown big, and then during the COVID time, we doubled in the team size, around 14 people in the core team, and then several other externals. I had this vision. So if you know this place in India, in Pondicherry, called Aravinth, this is actually a utopian eco village that has been built like 25 years ago, and that's been still existing and so on. And so we really wanted to build an eco village, right? Just rather than being in a building and then it just do these labs and then it's kind of not fitting into the next buildings. And so we really want to expand into a eco village, but it's an eco innovation village where we would love to experiment also with the digital naturalism, because in Sri Lanka, it's not like Indonesia, Bali. There's so much of demand for digital nomadism, but like digital nomadism is something that people come and they get it as a service, but we really want to build a digital naturalism that if someone wants to go in Sri Lanka, in our land, in our village, if they want to just stay and do their work, but at the same time, all those, I'm talking about foreigners, they should also able to give back to that village by building, things around it, similar to Auroville project in India. And for that, we are really working on it. So it's a kind of a utopian design that we have made, and we have proposals. So sooner or later, we will be building that. And then anyone from anywhere in the world, we are providing a space as a co-living. So you get to live, co-live, and then co-create the digital naturalism around it. So this is our next stage, and that we see this as a more motivation for even those local people to be there. And another one of the challenge that when we have identified a lot of kids, they're coming from jungle region, and then at a certain point, even those kids themselves ask whether we can adopt them. because it's so difficult for them every day to go back and forth 2 hours into the jungle. Either it's difficult with the family. So we actually adopted 3 of these very young boys, 16 years old boy, to provide them accommodation and food and so on. So we thought that what if our village consists of like super brainy mind youngsters and foreigners together, like co-creating, and then we have been making proposal, and then I hope like sooner or later we have people get our funding, and we have the land exactly at the ocean, and it actually belongs to me, and so you all are welcome. So.
We can make that journey someday. And actually, first of all, like here, this particular time is a very different from us and from the people who are organizing this. And many of them, like from Justice, Festa, Adeline, even Ivan, or all of our panelists, and also Arnav here, Larson, everyone, and Darin as well. They have been up for a long time, and I'm not sure when is the last time they slept. So we should, like, you know, have our snaps for them, because you have no idea for last couple of months how immensely they work. So thank you so much, all of our, you know, event support and organizers. Though we have 20 minutes, almost 18 minutes, but we can actually wrap up the session. But before that, I really want to say this is kind of like middle of the night. I mean, after it's already past midnight. So and they have been organizing through the whole day and in front of the computer. So maybe the number of participants from that East Coast or, you know, that region is lower. But I really want to thank whoever is there and who kept your eyes open for this session. This is the very last session, and also our panelists. So Ivan, Aravinth, Darin, thank you so much. Alexander and Saheed maybe couldn't make it, and all the people from Asia, thank you so much for your time. And if you have any other question, you can actually shoot it here. Or actually from 2 minutes now, I will time 15 minutes straight, because I like cut in like a right after Sister's session. So yeah, and Sister, thank you so much. Though it's your time, but I know you couldn't sleep, and Arnav as well. So I really want to thank especially Sreshta and Justice, Adeline and Arnav to you know, even support technically. So yeah, that's it. I mean, shoot your question and have you know, listen to the music. So the last slide, Adeline. Thank you so much all. So are you still gonna hang it for like 10 minutes maybe here? Please, if anyone have any question. Or one thing, we actually need to take a photo shoot, you know. Let's put in a speaker view. Actually, Adeline, you can like stop sharing the slide. Can you turn on your cameras? All of you? Great, Justice, you're there. So if you have any funny thing with you, like I have this action figure of Batman. So let's take a picture with that. If you can, like, you know, turn on your computer camera, everyone, that would be awesome. And I don't know if you can take the photo, that would be a great help. I don't know, are you there?
Doing this.
Excellent,
yep.
Excellent, man. So yeah.
Adeline grabbing something, yeah.
Are you all ready?
That's so cute,
So
right?
I'll count it down. Okay, ready? 3, 2, 1. There we go. Done.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That was fun.
Can I ask, if we have 15 minutes left and some of the speakers are not too tired, I would love to hear, you know, what kind of support you are looking for, like what kind of collaboration or funding or whatever. What do you need next to do more of what you do, or to do something that, you would really like to do, but you're not doing now. Darin, I know because we just met last week, but I feel like you should share maybe a little bit of update for everyone too about what's going on and you know what's going on at the Makerspace with that we talked about with Saad the other day. But I would love to hear from the three of you how we can support. What can I do over here? So, but I'm going to ask Darin to go first because I know he hasn't told you guys any updates.
Well, can I like take like 30 seconds? We are having this Asia, regional meeting. So the timing is on the day 3, Sunday, October 11. So Zoom room chloroplast. That will be like 7 a.m. to 8:30 a.m. ET. So since like Erlene brought it up, we're going to have all kind of like discussion starting from this. And Erlene has been doing this for like last couple of Biosummit. Actually, I got introduced by her. So thank you so much, Erlene. And yeah, please, Darin, you can like go on to Erlene's questions. And I'm just inviting you to that Asian regional meeting, all of you. Thank you so much.
Hey, Salman, we were roommates at the first Biosummit.
Yeah,
Don't forget that.
Really? Oh, that is amazing. That's amazing. Sorry.
Right. Actually, the first time, that was first time out of country. That was the first time I went to not only United States. That was like first step out of my country. So and like learning English for the first time, that was like crazy. And I got Justice Maria, Patrick, Roya, and I think Tori Cobbin or somewhere. So these organizers, luckily I got Patrick, Justice, and Maria, who have been the Scourgeon and co-organizers of Biosummit for last couple of years. So thank you so much, Justice, for all of your support, Maria and Adeline. And Adeline here, she actually introduced me with this global summit, and I stepped into just from her introduction. Adeline came to Bangladesh, and she actually came to our university and took that workshop on citizen science, biohacking, and we work with kids. I don't know, Adeline, you can remember that or not, but actually that like connected the bridge with this local community, with this bio community. And right now, I actually got 36 participants in this year from Bangladesh. That's kind of like right after California. So California had like 55, and second New York and Bangladesh. So thank you so much. It all actually started with Adeline. So a big hand for him, her, and all the participants and all the organizers. Please, thank you so much all.
No, I mean, my pleasure. I just I feel like we keep growing these collaborations. So with all the speakers, here, like, can we keep doing more together? I love Dreamspace Academy and this idea of that, that village, the eco village, eco digital naturalism theme with that village. And also with Switzerland and Singapore, I know we have a lot of academic connections already. Like, are there connections we can make with the Edible Makerspace that might make sense somehow too? I don't know how that looks like. But anyway, I'll let you guys speak.
Yeah, I would definitely love that. Bringing out the Edible Makerspace and making it international. So for all of you guys, an update. So right now, the Edible Makerspace is hosted in all of our kitchens. So the thing about Singapore is land is expensive, but so it's kind of hilarious because we have all this crazy equipment and all, but like in different people's kitchens, and we just have workshops at different common locations and bring out the stuff. So eventually we could have Edible Makerspace in all of our kitchens, and we can just meet up on Zoom and do some fermentation and grow mushrooms and things like that. If all of you are up for it.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Adeline, for your question. I guess I would like to pick it up. You're asking which are the challenges that we're facing. If I might tone down a bit our jovial discussion and go into the money, the monetary component of that. When we're teaching iGEM, EPFL this year has paid like $9,000 for participation of its team in the online iGEM summit. So then you're asking yourself, so how much is it actually worth? And how much is it the exercise for rich kids, you know, around the world? So these are the questions that go around, and there was no sustainable solution for that problem. No, neither from the side of community nor from the headquarters. So I think that's one thing. And linked with that, it's what I have to face, the challenge that you might help me solve is this tragedy of commons, because it's not like we're offering top-down solutions, right? We're building community, and there's a lot of collaboration that is expected of participants, like here in the BioSummit, right? And how to avoid sort of this tragedy of commons where, you know, people actually do not collaborate. They think, oh, it's like bystander's effect. So why don't my neighbor collaborates and makes all the work? Oh, not all the work, but starts the work. So does it resonate with what the challenges that you have and what you are doing, Adeline?
Yes, totally agree. And like Darin said, Singapore is very expensive. But I wanted to hear more about, because I think what he's doing is really what you just said, which is a lot of the things that get initiated, you need this one person that you support. Like, well, there's a person who's got a lot of energy and doing stuff and gets out there, and then how do you keep supporting these people to do more? So I really like to hear how Dreamspace Academy is supporting these candidates after you identify them and then letting them grow. Because I think that is one way to do it. I don't know financially what is the best way, right? So love to hear how they're doing that.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. Now, yeah. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Adeline, to answer. I mean, just quickly showing this. This is the land that we have. What you see here, where we are building the eco village. So it's from the backwater and the ocean. And there is actually a conference called DynaCon, which is a digital naturalism conference. Happened initially. First phase is in Thailand, second in Panama. I'm speaking to the relevant people, like Counterculture Lab is involved somehow in this project. So probably the next, it stopped in the last 2 years, and probably the next one, if we could arrange in Sri Lanka, I'm going to see you guys there. So to answer the question about, yeah, I'll just stop this. So to answer the question about like Adeline, like so Dreamspace is as I said, we are an organization. We have a balance between our social mission and a business venture. Because as I said that when we had 30 years of war, we are super dependent on the international aid, and then that caused local people to be less creative. But we don't want to be dependent much on it. So we have so many ways of business generation, revenue generation, which we feed into our social mission. So initially, I can tell you one of the example, like there was another organization, NGO, which was shut down, and they had all the photocopy machines. And then someone asked if we could take it over. We took it over, but we didn't want to keep it inside Dreamspace. We started a photocopy shop. So we were making 100,000 Sri Lankan rupees a month just from doing photocopy. We were burning around 150,000 rupees, Sri Lankan rupees, but 100,000 we were just making from a photocopy machine. And this way we were able to always generate income. And the second thing, when we build a lot of this multidisciplinary capacity, it's useful for us, but definitely it's useful for someone else, right? And what we do, we sell that thing. So how do we sell that? So international aid. So international aid, they have their own programs. So if you look into many of the international aid, like UK aid, US aid, they're more into humanitarian and stuff like that. If you look at German aid, they are more into SMEs and entrepreneurship. So we tapped into one of them is the Australian aid, and you would have seen a lot of Australian program. Australia is very famous for the cooking shows. The Australian aid was just doing like kind of a training for empowering people to become cooks in Sri Lanka. So we went to them, and then we saw that, okay, it's good to make them cooks, but like you need to also teach them business, how to sell whatever they make. So we drafted a program called Skills for Inclusive Growth. where we told that we will create 20 storytellers in ecotourism, and we will teach them everything from camera handling to business modeling to website creation and digital marketing. These are the skills which we have. And they paid us to 5.5 million Sri Lankan rupees, so 25,000 euros they paid to create them. And then so the first 8 months of this year, we survived. We didn't have any hit by the COVID in terms of that cash flow. And we were running, I mean, we were not able to run our programs, our own programs, because we had these issues, the restrictions and lockdowns, so, but we were able to run this program of the Australian aid. This is how we are always keeping the balance of our social mission. And then also, again, even though our empowerment program is focused on the underprivileged community, we are tapping into the resourceful families also. So we have another parallel program. Resourceful family would send their kid to just do any workshop, just like an extracurricular, and they're paying for it. And then we would just feed that back into a social mission. So this is what we say, this the sustainability should be like the financial sustainability for any organization is very important. As this Ivan said, that it's very important. The IGEM there wasn't never a team from IGEM team from Sri Lanka. So the first time, so we decided that we are preparing. So I identified when I was in Sri Lanka, I live in Sri Lanka and Germany. In February, I identified a girl, 16-year-old girl in extreme remote jungle. She has been grinding the seeds of a Java plum. If you know, in Southeast Asia, this is a purple fruit. It's called Java plum. And she's making a biofilter to remove cadmium from the water. I mean, cadmium is mostly in cities because of the pipes, metal pipes, not in jungle. But she's thinking, a 16-year-old girl who had never had an access to any other education than her village, was thinking about this. So we took her and we were preparing her, and we already presented to the Swedish Forest Society, and she won this Stockholm Junior Water Prize from 40 countries this year. Usually it happens in the town hall. So this is how we are preparing, and we want to send someone to IGEM, but $5,000 per team is too much for us. You know, really it's too much for us. So, but anyway, we wanted to learn how to do it. So what we are doing now, a Korean IGEM, we are mentoring a Korean IGEM team, high school team. They have been developing a biosensor to put to detect in the post harvesting in the rice. And the rice is post-harvested, and then it's put in some storage. They get, there's a fungus growth. So they are targeting Sri Lanka as a target market because one of their mentor was the World Food Program. Good to hear that the World Food Program won the Nobel Prize this year, and as an organization, and they want to target Sri Lanka. So we have been helping them with the connecting with the farmer, doing the surveys and building all those things. And we hope that next year we will find some ways to send our first IGEM team from Sri Lanka. And so to answer the question in total, that we do a lot of things. We have dedicated teams for different things. So as Abel said, this snowflake leadership or peer-to-peer leadership was set from our organization from many years ago, from whatever we do. So it took a lot of time for me to find that center person because I'm living between these two countries. And when I found him and I trained him, and he created his peers and his first circle and the second circle, and it goes on. And this is how Dreamspace operates. And yeah.
Okay, right. I think, sorry, time's up, but I will start an email thread maybe with the speakers, and anyone else who's interested can email me too. And then maybe talk more. I mean, it is a problem that I see all the time too. And so I'm also working with a storytelling company in Singapore. So maybe,
wow.
Oh, hello. So maybe we can do some videos to telling, oh, hello. Yeah, so maybe we can do a little bit more and to see how we can keep working, offering services to companies, and supporting a team from Sri Lanka would be amazing. I have a team mate who's from Sri Lanka actually. So anyway.
Yeah, Adeline, just 1 second. So how you all can support is because the third stage is the international collaboration stage where the candidates, they are incentivized by going somewhere where they can learn. And this is how the parents are also agreeing that we are an international organization, because Sri Lanka, if you don't have white people around, they don't believe you. It's unfortunate truth, in Asia. So this is why I would say that please like if you have any form of a collaboration where you can exchange or send our, you know, where we can send our candidates to your location, please just, yeah, thank you.
Great. So I believe like we all can like keep in touch after that. Hey, Ariane, how are you doing? Hello. He's so cute. So yeah, I mean, right, our time is up. So the thing is, we can like connect with each other, and I'm sure like in our next 2 sessions, we'll be able to, you know, connect with each other more. But now we're going to call it off. But if anyone wants to leave, that's all right. But I want Shrestha, Justice, and Evelyn, and Arnav, if you can, you know, stay with like 1 or 2 minutes after that. So that would be like really great. So yeah, great. So thank you so much, all the panel speakers. It was great, and like you guys are like really inspiring. And please stay connected, everyone. Please, you know, we can like give them a hand or snap, please, everyone. Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much.